Hey, I wanted to kind of go over one of the new sub 9s I got the other day. This one is an 835. It uses blind travel. It's a stables. My fastest stables run by far. Well, not by far, by 2 seconds. Anyways, I'm gonna try and go a little more in depth about the decisions I make and what I do in this run. I just want to, provide a little more insight. It felt like my last two sub 9 analyses were a bit rushed, so I want to make sure I'm kind of giving all the information I can. You'll see the way I scan a seed is I just kind of spin around, and if I get a spike, I go to the thin res. This is something that Priffin kind of pioneered, but it's been around for a bit. It's been a bit more popular. I started using it basically right after my PB in July. I don't think I've really described it much though. Basically, the way thin works is you make your game only load a couple of chunks, and this gives you very accurate spikes. You'll notice the second that this red line from the chunk border appears, I get a spike, maybe 1 frame out of 60 frames later. This is really, really good for accuracy and really just allows you to find the specific chunk that the BT is in a lot faster than most people can do. Granted, there are a lot of really good BT finders, without thin, but this is something that anyone can do and it will help every single person. It's always beneficial. Anyways, pretty simple, pretty standard BT. We can see we have 8 iron and 6 gold, meaning I'll have a gold axe, and then I can go either gold or iron shovel, just depending. Usually I'd make an iron shovel here, but sometimes I just like to do gold shovel because it's faster, and 1 gold won't usually make a difference with trades. I have a pretty bad habit of not grabbing the iron sword. It's kind of nice, though, raising RD and ED here, because then you can just kind of instantly grab the sword. Not too much of a time loss, but it is something I need to work on. It is really nice to have that option of the iron sword when you know you're going to have a gold axe. Anyways, pretty standard TNT placement. Your goal is to get at least like 8 logs. Then you'll have, enough wood for 4 beds left over. Getting 9 is always nice because then you have 5, and that's good for 0, but I don't really stress too much about getting wood for 0 every time because I kind of prefer to play for the fact that you'll get like at least 1 anchor. Anyways, it's an okay crafting split, pretty standard tab space. Been working on it since July. I think I'm getting a lot better at it now. I've been getting a lot more consistent at it. I'm not perfect, of course. Still people much better than me like Priffin, but I think I'm really starting to show improvement. This ocean looks okay at first. I kind of look around and I realize this is there's a zombie spawner down here. I don't think you can probably see it because the quality isn't good enough. But yeah, you can see over here we have some kelp, but that's from that spawner. I consider getting the dolphin here, but I see that the kelp is right here. And I kind of have an issue getting dolphins too close because I think they provide a lot more harm than good when you're really close to the ravine. Down here, I have the dolphin's grace. It's going to kind of maybe slide around the thing. You see I kind of get up once. I get lucky here, and the dolphin, kind of plays with some gravel. He actually hits my flint, which is super annoying. Normally I would have flint and steel crafted by here, and now I kind of have to craft it after because you can't really overlap it with going down on the lava. So, a little annoying. Something that maybe could have been benefited if I had like punched the dolphin earlier or something, but not a huge deal. Pretty standard 2x1, nothing special. Been doing the same 2x1 for over a year now, since I started. Getting pretty consistent with it. It's kind of awkward lighting here because I have to craft my flint steel. I didn't drain it correctly, but pretty good enter. 130 flat enter. Also, another thing I'll go over a little more later is you might notice my game's language is in French, which I don't think I've had a run since changing my language in the game, but I'll explain why I do that a little bit later. It's something I'm kind of new to, and it's something that maybe not too many people know about that aren't super into speedrunning, but it's been something interesting that I've had fun using recently. Anyways, you can see I get a huge 30 entity spike like 2 chunks away, and when I scan, I see here. So what do I see here? If you play a lot of Minecraft speedrunning, you kind of instantly know what Bastion this is. We have a sort of chunky back part, and you see a small gap, and then the rest of it, and it's completely flush. Housing doesn't have this, bridge doesn't have this, treasure doesn't have this. This is 100% stables. Judging by the back right here, we know we're looking at a bad gap. This is due to these kind of blocky little 2x2 and 3x3 spots that kind of protrude. A good gap would look a lot more different with like some L-shaped gaps missing. I can't really show you now, but it looks pretty different. Anyways, entering here, my kind of game plan is to grab some gold armor, maybe some obsidian from this chest. We'll go up through the gap to the other gap and see if it's good, and if not, we'll check the tops for triples. So I go over here. I see that I have a pig I'm going to burn him real quick. I think this is probably the easiest way to deal with him. I could have ran past him and risked just getting shot, but I figured it wouldn't take long to just kind of get him out of the way. As I come up here, I see that I have a crossbow pig, so again, not too much to worry about. I'm going to be slipping up here anyways, so I don't really need to stress out about him much. Open this chest, and I get not only armor, but also 6 obsidian, which is very nice. I think the big thing that makes obsidian so important here is that I think the worst part of playing Stable's Gap is the obsidian, right? You have very few chests in close proximity. You have the bottom 1x1 chest, and if you don't have a bad gap over here, you kind of have to go up to the top of Stables to even get another one. And a lot of times, there won't be a chest too easy to access there without pigs in front of it, or if it's a triple, it's even harder to get. So this 6 obby here makes this run a lot better than it potentially would have been without it. As I'm running over here, I see that this is a good gap. You can tell by sort of the cracked arrangement. I kind of panic here. I kind of forget where I'm mining. This is just because coming from the back to start a gap is very not common, at least for me. I don't think I've done this much. You can mine 2 here and go up, but I prefer to mine like this. It just feels a little bit more safer. I go as far up as I can. The reason I do this is to aggro pigs as high up in these ramparts as I can above me, or as far out in the stables, and also not to aggro the pigs in this gap. Since I have armor, they won't attack me unless I aggro them with a punch. You see I do aggro one who was up here, and I actually throw my shovel. This ends up being a lot more of a significant decision than I realize. It didn't really matter too much in like the whole, the ending of the run, but it's something that hindered me a lot more than I would have expected at the time. Anyways, going right in the gap like normal. I maybe would have grabbed some distraction blocks. I don't think I have any, but I'm not really in much danger. You see this guy isn't aggroed because of how far I chose to go up the stairs to punch the pig. I'm going to do the same. I do the same stables gap basically every time. I block off with these 2 blocks. I make sort of a T shape here. This is just to help the routing into this hole. It allows pigs to kind of walk up here and also stops them from getting stuck over here. And I think that everyone should be routing stables gap like this, where you go in flush with the 2 gold blocks, and then you let in both the pigs, throw in all the gold, and then block yourself off. This is made a bit more scuffed because I don't have a shovel. Normally you're going to mine whatever blocks is longer to mine, so you can get the other one quick and block yourself off. This is a bit risky. I get really close to getting punished hard, but ends up not mattering. You block yourself off and put yourself in this hole so they auto-funnel a little bit better. Grab the rest of your blocks. Oh, kind of mess up the gold throw there, but I redeem it in the end. And go ahead and reblock off the pigs. You can use lava there. In my experience, not often do you really get pigs that come down late, honestly, but it's just better to block it off for safety. Here, I'm changing my pie to try and detect this mob spawner, and I actually mine one down to, I mine an extra block down accidentally, which is a bit sloppy, but doesn't matter too much. You'll notice that my pie disappears at 10, so I raise to 13 and open chunk borders. If you notice that the pie looks kind of weird here and it's fully green, I use something called green pie, where you actually tab into the mob spawner entity, and this will make it so while you are doing something, while pie rang, you can't accidentally press 2 or 3 to switch to your pickaxe and mess it up. So it's just a little bit of something for safety. I know Curryway talked about it in the video of me and didn't really go for like the main reason I like to use it, but I'm glad he covered it. It was good. Anyways, I'm actually go 10 for 10 on gold blocks here, which is really nice. I maybe would have considered grabbing backups if not. I didn't really need to, though. I'm probably getting 10 obby. You'll see I already have 9, and I just threw them 54 more gold, so I'm feeling pretty good. Here, I actually go through the liberty to craft a gold axe, knowing that my iron axe, I craft an iron axe, knowing my gold axe won't suffice, since I have the 28 nuggets for 3 gold. Now here, this is where the language change matters. So you'll notice that I'm actually search crafting. And this is something I learned fairly recently. I talked about it with Priffin pretty recently, that I wanted a search craft language that wasn't too complex and didn't mean too many rebinds, and we kind of stumbled on Canadian French, which was this really simple language. We only rebound like 4 or 5 keys, and it has all of the crafts you need in RSG and even ranked. So you'll see here, I type T space, which is actually rebound to D, so everything's really close to my hotkeys, and I get ingot, and then I'll type 8 space, which I rebound 8 to Z, so I get iron axe. And this is just really fast. Of course, you can always just drag craft it, but this is just basically instant way to get all the crafts you need. I'm not amazing at it yet. People like Priffin, people like Silver and Hacks, people who've been using Bosnian and stuff for a while are just really, really good at it, but I'm still learning. You'll notice that once I cross over this chunk border, I get it, so I know it's this way. I'm gonna go down to this chest and check for more obby. I'm gonna stack up because there's a sword pig right here. I don't want to risk him hurting me. But kind of annoyingly, he actually gets hit by a zombie, or a zombie pig scares him away here. So now I have this pig that can just randomly re-aggro me. So I actually opt to, I make course here, and then I opt to get the gold boots in my hotbar so I can throw it and distract him. And it actually pays off there. I get to avoid a hit because of that. Anyways, going back to my trades, what I'm looking for here is explosives, fire res, obsidian, and pearls. I have 19 pearls. I have 10 obsidian. I'm not going to get 20 probably. I have 4 beds and an anchor. But you'll see I have no fire res. I actually get another bed. So now I have 5 beds and an anchor, which is really nice. But I really want this fire res. It really makes runs just much better quality, and you can play a lot more aggressive in forts. And right here on the last trade that they trade, I actually get the fire res. So playing gap here is really nice because the 10th block gave me the gold. And you'll notice as I'm leaving this bastion, I'm going up because I know there's not terrain at the bottom, and it actually opens up a lot here. I turn around and you'll see there's a triple stables rampart behind me, and it's actually double triple. It was kind of a bummer when I first saw it, but I realized pretty quickly that it ended up being a kind of a blessing in disguise because I wouldn't have gotten fire resistance, and 20 obby isn't too important. It wouldn't have helped too much in this run, and you'll see why. Anyways, as I'm exiting, I thought about pearling right here, but I realized that I'd want to get some more information because there wasn't any just like clearly good terrain to take. And as I come up on the edge here, you'll see there's a little bit of a ledge here with an opening. So deciding to run here gave me a much better pearl where I got to get right up on this ledge and ended up being way better to get to this fortress. I throw another pearl here and I hit the edge of this land. So 2 really good pearls. I feel pretty good about these. The third is a bit more blind, but I don't really get punished. I land in fire. Probably should use my fire as before. During a blind travel run, if I'm still in the nether at 7 minutes, it's not a very good run. So I should have probably just used it at some point while pearling. That was a mistake on my end. I lose, how much health did I even lose from that? Maybe, yeah, I lose 1 heart from that. So not a huge deal, but it's a little bit sloppy. Probably should have just used the fire res to be safe. I see the spawner here. So it's a 405 spawner, 10 obby, and 0, which is pretty nice. I feel pretty good about this run. Kill this first blaze and he drops, and I have the second blaze in a very, very annoying spot. Pretty much anywhere that I can stand easily, it's just going to hit him over this big netherrack gap, and even like it's kind of near lava, I think, maybe. So I feel a bit awkward about that, and I look over to the right and I see 3 strays. So I say, okay, I have a rod, I see 3 strays, I'll high roll that I can get 1 more stray and just blind on 5, right? I'm playing for the fastest possible time always on these kind of seeds with where I'm blinding. So I have these 3 strays, and I kill them, and I believe only the second one drops. So now I have 2 rods. So here I think is probably the biggest misplay of the entire run. This is where I think I lose the most time, and probably lose, any sort of like really good pace that I could have gotten. Instead of returning to the spawner with that 1 spawn that I could have blaze bedded, I know I had 5 beds. I have kind of a low pearl amount. I think I'm at 16 or 15 now. Instead of doing any of that, I just run over here looking for another spawner because I saw 1 stray. And this is really foolish because not only do I not find the other spawner, but, I mean, again, there's only 1 stray here. He's kind of surrounded by withers, so I have to take the time to tower up and kill these guys. And this whole time, I could have blaze bedded the spawner and been killing blazes, so it really is just like a really significant time loss. And here I kind of realize I'm losing a lot of pace to going for that blaze, so I kind of pearl pretty boldly. And this is maybe a weird decision because I only have, I think, 15 pearls left now, which is, it's not great. Anyways, here, still with high roll in my mind, I see the spawner, I see I have 3 rods, and I say, okay, I'll hope I get a 2 spawn or better, and I'll hope they all drop. So I decided to build my portal here. In hindsight, probably should have just blaze bedded the spawner. It's a really, really high roll to think you'll get 2 spawns, they'll both drop. Granted, it would have been pretty fast, but, probably should have just done the blaze bed, broken the fire, and been out quicker. Once I kill this guy, and I realize that I still only have 3 rods, I say, okay, I'm just going to blaze bed. You'll notice here, instead of crafting all my wool, I just craft 3. This is something I've actually seen Priffin do recently. I'm not sure exactly why he does it. The reason I did it here is just to kind of preserve the cleanliness of my inventory. And realizing I'm only at 14 pearls, I realize I'm not going to be able to do 0 this run 9 times out of 10. So I'm not going to really care about pre-crafting anything. I'm just going to try and keep my inventory nice and neat. So you'll see here, slam down, I use T-space, which is actually the same as ingot. This is actually the wrong pre-craft, but it actually works for beds as well. It's ingots and beds, which is really nice for when you have gold axe at a spawner and you need to blaze bed, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I do one of the 2 crafts for beds, grab it real quick, move it to my hotbar, pick block for this nether brick, and slam down a blaze bed as fast as I can. And you'll notice that, this took like 5 seconds. I could have done this at any point. After I killed these 3 straights, if I just like pearled back, it would have been like 40 seconds quicker. And that's something I kind of regret, is that I really could have saved a lot of time on this run if I had just decided to play the spawner a bit more, not even consistently, but like aggressively, just playing for the spawns. Anyways, while I'm killing these blazes, I'll craft my wool. I see I have explosives, but it doesn't really matter. I think I'm aware of my pearl count by now, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do it. Killing these 2 blazes because, they're much more safe. They're near the portal in the right direction. I get the 5th from here. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm killing this guy. If not, I'm leaving. And he drops. So I get a nice 6th rod. Not too often do I blind on 6 rods these days, but it feels nice to do it. Let's say 541 or 542 blind. I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to craft some of my eyes, not all of them, of course, because in case I want a high roll, I can choose to throw some eyes out, put me below 12. You'll see I'm doing bow tie strategy with eye zoom, which is the most accurate and just meta way to measure eyes. And after adjustment, I see that I have 269 block blind. So here I'm kind of getting nervous, right? Getting a little scared. I know I have 1 pearl to throw, and then after that I'll be risking. So I opt to throw that last pearl pretty quickly. I'm in a swamp, seems like a good time. I think about cooking that pig, and then I say I have a cod, so in my mind I'm like, okay, I'm nowhere near out of health. I'll be fine for this entire run. I'm a little nervous at this point, right? It's 6 minutes and I'm like 100 blocks out from the stronghold. So I open up chunk borders, start looking at the direction. I'm actually in a boat. It's in this direction, I hit a bunch of lily pads just from nerves. And you'll see I kind of fumble a bit here. I want to get my bucket out and water bucket, so during the dig down I can land and just use water bucket to tank any fall damage. And I actually hover over here and just completely mispress. So a bit of a silly time loss. Didn't matter too much though. I end up grabbing it. I believe at this point I'm 1 chunk off. You'll see I'm about to dig. I'm actually at 14.4 there. And then I run here towards 14.14, and then I finally realize, okay, this is 5.5. This is where I want to be. So this is 5.5. You can see I'm starting to dig down at 6.32, which is pretty good pace. Not world record pace by any means, and not really PB pace, but it's not bad at all. And then I keep digging, and I see stone brick at about 6.46, and I clutch, and it's a low. This is the same stronghold enter as my first of 10, 6.47. I see I have a zombie in front of me, but I kind of just want to, try and get out of this room as fast as I can. This is someone that I'm not going to have to worry about for a few seconds. So I just instantly go down to 850 ED and start preemptive. I'm going to scan everywhere, and I see I get a really good spike back in the back right. When I entered the stronghold, I took note that I had a secret room. You can see right here, I see that I have this fake wall up here, implying there's a secret room to my left, but I just kind of forgot. So after I get the spike, I'm just like, okay, there's a secret room, I'm going to go there, and I just mine a wall. And you can see I get pretty confused. I'm like, wait, what? And then I turn around, I'm like, oh, this is the one I saw. So this is just pretty sloppy, just nerves, I think, really speaking. Not too much of a time loss, though. Anyways, the spike's in this direction, and ends up being exactly where the spike would imply. I checked this chest for pearls and food. If I got a few pearls from there and it was a lot of eyes, I maybe could have considered going for 0. Once I got over here, I saw it was a 2-eye, but I knew I would have had a death reset. I kind of just said, I'll just kind of go and hope I can maybe PB. And craft all my eyes, and I enter at 7:06, which is 2 seconds slower than in my PB. So pretty good end enter. It's just another, good blind, but I feel pretty good about this run so far. I'm entering with 2 pearls. I know I have a cod, so I'm not too worried about running out of health, so I'm going to throw the first pearl to make sure I can get to the fountain in time. Train is pretty rocky, so I'm kind of glad I had that ability. It would have been kind of weird to get there. Anyways, eat my cod to heal up, and I'm going to place my obsidian on the fountain. It's important that you place the obsidian on the opposite side of where you run, or else the dragon perching will be really awkward. Anyways, I actually mess up my thing here. The correct search craft for beds is space R, and I do R space just out of habit. So I actually just like reload, and then before I can type it, I see the bed top left, which is really funny. So just kind of stick with that. And then you'll see I craft my glowstone, and then I do space R correctly. Oh, I mess it up again. And then I get space R, and you'll see I only have carpet and anchor. So I didn't really have any time. I crafted the glowstone. That's something I should have made a little bit sooner, probably while pearling in the overworld. It ended up not mattering too much. I have a super messy inventory. I think I was just sort of nervous and like gauging things when I blinded and pearling towards the stronghold, so I didn't really get to empty things out or craft, but it ends up not really mattering. I knew I couldn't 0, so I didn't really take much priority in inventory management, and it really doesn't matter if you're not zeroing. Anyways, the rest of this run is me just kind of sitting here, placing some fun blocks, you know, doing whatever. And I get the perch at about 813. Not PB or anything, but a sub 9 is always something really exciting and nerve-wracking. The one cycle is another moment that was a little bit stressful for me. You'll see I have 2.5 hearts, meaning each bed doing half a heart. This will kill me without armor. However, I had 2 pieces of armor on, including a chest plate. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, one of these beds isn't going to do the half a heart. I'll be able to use 5 beds and we'll be totally fine. So after each bed, I'm watching my health. First bed does damage. Second bed does damage. Third bed does damage. And at this point, I'm kind of nervous. I'm saying, okay, if I +1, I might just instantly die. Because this isn't really an easy dragon to just kill with a 4th bed. So I'm really just nervous about +1ing here. After the 4th bed, I notice I don't take damage, so as quick as I can after reacting, I place down the +1 and it kills the dragon. So it's a bit of a stressful moment. I was really just, you know, hyper aware of my health during this whole cycle. You know, a lot of cycles just like muscle memory and timing. So, you know, it's pretty easy to time the beds at least decently while looking at my health, and it ended up working out. And the final time is 8:35.9 with 0 retime due to the technique that in which I did bow die. So pretty good run. I felt really good about this one, honestly. I know it's not a perfect run or anything, and it's again just like a lucky blind, but I think my mechanics were pretty decent in this run. I think I made a lot of good decisions, and I think I played the Bastion pretty well, and I think it was a pretty good overworld. So, you know, I actually got another sub 9 the next day, which is pretty insane. And actually, 2 nethers after this one, I got a 6:22 Stronghold. So a lot of really good pace. It's all up on my YouTube. I'll probably make a video up here pretty soon about my 8:59. That run is a lot less clean, a lot more sloppy, and it's still sub 9. I'm playing a lot of RSG, you know, it's getting towards holiday season, so I don't know how much we'll be able to grind then, but, you know, I'm having a lot more fun with RSG. I've kind of put ranked and everything else on the back burner to grind as much as I can. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Yeah, see you in my next video.